cast iron cooking. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome to Dit Dot. My name is Amanda. Today I'm doing a collab with Our Big's Adventure and the Ingrid Chronicles. We are talking about cooking in cast iron. Y'all know that is one of the things that I love to cook with, and I pulled out some of my cast iron to show you. My little one here, I think is a 10-inch, and I've had this for years. My Meemaw gave it to me when I got married, and I think this bigger one I bought when my kids got older and I was starting to make, I needed a bigger skillet to feed a family of 4. And then down here, I have a cast iron griddle. All of these pieces, well, I was gonna say all these pieces are lodged, but you know what? Honestly, I don't know if this one is. And you can see how old this one is. This one, the inside is super nonstick. I cook eggs in it all the time and fish. But my outside, it's showing some rust and wear. So I definitely need to season this guy up soon. Give it a little cast iron love. And then I have a full set of cast iron that I take camping with me too. But these are the ones I keep in my kitchen and I use them all the time. And my last house I had a glass top stove, and they recommend you don't use cast iron on a glass stove. But I did. I just was very careful every time I set it down because I did not want to crack the glass top. But with this one being gas, perfect for cast iron. All right, well, today we're making taco pie, so let's get started. So for today, I'm just using my small one. I'm gonna go ahead and get some ground beef cooking. I like these tubes just because they're really easy, and I cook with lean beef most of the time, so that way I don't have to drain my skillet at the end. So we'll get this going. So I'm gonna just break this up, get it started. I've got my temperature just up on high because I wanna brown this beef. Okay guys, sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. I just noticed that my mic went out in that last section, so thankfully I noticed right away. All I did is I added seasoning. I added salt, pepper, and taco seasoning. Actually, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more taco seasoning anyway. So I'm gonna do the rest of this video not mic'd up. Hopefully the sound quality will be good enough. I'll try to talk a little louder. So I use a homemade taco seasoning because my family does not like spicy foods. So that way I can control the seasoning. I use a very mild chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, and oregano and cumin in my taco seasoning. But you can buy a store-bought taco seasoning too if you've got a favorite one. The only reason why I really make it homemade is because every time I try to buy a store-bought one, it's too spicy. If you are here from Our Big's Adventure or the Ingrid Chronicles or any of the other people in our collaboration, welcome to my channel. I have a lot of fun. I try to cook homemade and I try to focus on healthier dinners. And the other thing that I like to do is I'm a kinesthetic learner, and I like to just jump in and learn new dishes. So a lot of times I will find a dish that I have never tried before, and I will bring y'all along with me and cook it together so we can learn together. I'm just gonna let this brown. You can see I was pulling out my food processor to do the pie crust when I realized my sound went out. So let's go over there and start doing that. Okay, so I have my food processor here, but you can also do this by hand. I've done plenty of pie crust by hand. Now the interesting thing about this pie crust is that because I'm doing a taco pie, I wanted to have cornmeal. So I'm using 1/4 cup of just regular all-purpose flour. And that's gonna help give us a little bit of gluten to keep the pie crust together. And then I'm going to use 3/4 cup of just cornmeal. Just got my meat back there. Oh my gosh, seriously. Keeping it real here on Dit Dot. Okay, so my meat is back there simmering. I'm just gonna stir it every once in a while. Put in a little bit of salt, and we're going to cube in 1/3 cup of cold butter. And then we'll give it a couple pulses. I just realized the boom of my mic is like sticking in my shirt funny. Seriously, people, seriously. Okay. Once it comes together and is just a fine powder, then we're good. We don't have any big clumps of butter left in here. And at this point, we're going to add about 4 tablespoons of ice water. So I've got an ice cube in my water here. I'm not going to use this ice cube. I just want this water to be ice cold. One of the tricks to good pie dough is to keep your butter and your water very cold. I'm going to start with 4 and I'll probably add another one. So at this point, we don't want to over process. I'm going to scrape down the sides and let it go again. Checking on our beef as we go. Breaking it up into small little pieces. Yeah, so this is starting to come together. Go ahead and add a little bit more ice water. Okay, my beef is done, so I'm going to turn it off while I get this done. So as you can see, what I'm doing is trying to get it into a ball here in my food processor so it'll come out nice and easy. And then I'm going to form it and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for a few minutes to kind of help set it up a little bit. All right, while we are letting our pie crust set up, I'm going to take this beef and just set it aside in a bowl because we are going to use this cast iron skillet to make our pie in. So I need this skillet to cool down a bit. I'm going to give this a quick rinse. Actually, while it's still hot, I'm going to take some of my butter that, I cut off from my pie, and I'm going to rub it in this cast iron skillet. That way it'll be nice and buttered up when we're ready to put our pie crust in here. Oh, this is going to be so good. While the cast iron skillet is cooling and the pie dough is setting, we're actually going to be making our cheese sauce. So I just got a small little skillet and I'm going to melt the rest of that butter into my skillet. Just give this time to melt down. Okay, my cheese is, my butter is almost melted. I'm going to preheat my oven to about 425. I pretty much cook everything like super hot. And I'm going to add a 1 cup of flour to my butter and give this a stir. Now, if you have a pre-bought cheese sauce that you really love, go ahead and use that. It's not an ingredient I keep on hand. It's just easy to make my own cheese sauce. So that is what I do. So I've got the butter and flour mixed up, and I'm going to add a little bit of milk at a time. So this isn't like a dish that I make very often. It's not super low calorie by any means, but this would be really good to take to a potluck or a Super Bowl party or something like that. So I add my milk a little bit at a time and stir or whisk until I get the lumps out. I'm trying not to make too much sauce. I don't really want leftovers of it, but I never really measure as I go with any of my cooking. So that's pretty good. And so now we're going to add some cheese. I've just got a Mexican blend. You could use cheddar, Monterey, whatever favorite cheese you have. I'm going to put that on low, melt this cheese in. I'm going to add in just whatever favorite salsa that you have. I got it. Just like another 1/4 cup or so. And then some salt. That's what it's looking like so far. Gonna keep stirring it. And I'm gonna add a little bit of water to thin it out. You could add more milk, but I was already kind of... Okay, turn that off and then we're gonna taste it. Usually I use a chip, but I'm just gonna use a spoon real quick. Oh, that's so good. Okay. Yep, don't need to add anything else to that. So I'm just gonna set this aside. And by now, see if this is cool enough to touch. Yep. So we'll start assembling. See, everything just kind of progresses. Okay, so you can roll it out, but I got my pie dough soft enough that I should be able to do just a press pie. We'll see. So I'm gonna use the plastic to help kind of press it out into my crust here, or my pan. I put a little too much water this time, I can tell. That's why I'm doing it as a press. If I was to roll this dough out, I would have to add a lot more flour as I was rolling. Because of all the cornmeal, it doesn't have quite the same structure as a flour pie crust. In my last video, like I told you, I was a kinesthetic learner. It's like I learn as I go. I've been cooking for 25 years, but I'm always learning. My last one, I did a gluten-free rice flour batter, and oh my gosh, it took me 4 tries before I was making crepes, rice flour crepes, and it took me 4 tries before I got it to come out good. Okay, so this is beautiful. Okay, so pretty pie plate. And now I'm going to add some refried beans, whatever your favorite brand is. And I'm gonna just kind of plop that down on the bottom and try to smooth it out as best I can without messing up my pie dough. So maybe another scoop. So what gave me the inspiration for this dish a long time ago, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has ever made this, I'm sure, because I mean, are there any new recipes out there under the sun? I was like, what if you took tacos and 7-layer dip and like created a dish with that? And that's kind of what I created. We've got a layer of refried beans, and you can make that as thick as you want. I'm gonna add in this beef, and then we're gonna put the cheese sauce in. Yummy. I'm laughing because people who follow my channel, this is not, like I said, this is not my normal cooking. This is a lot more high calorie. I'm not a calorie counter, but I really like to focus on eating healthy, but my main thing is real food ingredients. So sometimes it's fun to have a splurgy dinner. And I figure if you splurge at home with real food ingredients, then you're less likely to crave and want to go out to eat, and where you don't know what the ingredients the chef is using at a restaurant. So I'm going to top again with some of this cheese just to help give it browning, and then we're going to pop this into the oven for about 20 minutes to let the pie crust cook up and for all these flavors to meld. And then the fun comes with adding toppings. All right, let's take a look at it. Oh, it's looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. Oh, I can smell the cornmeal on the crust. One thing that's nice about cast iron skillets is the nice handle. So I'm just feeling it, and you can see it's pulling away. It's cooked through. So let's bring it over and see if we can cut up a slice. Okay, one tip that I have, when you pull a cast iron skillet out of the oven and you plan to serve from it, or even when you're cooking with it on the stovetop, you can buy these silicone handles. I highly recommend using them. That way, nobody in the family is gonna come behind me and like grab onto this handle when it's been in the oven and it's so hot. If you are planning on just eating a little bit of this at dinner and you want to save the next for a second meal, it's kind of best not to top it. But if you're serving it for guests and like I said, like at a Super Bowl party or something like that, I think serving in a cast iron skillet is really kind of fun. And I would just do all the toppings right here on top. I'm kind of debating here, but because we're not going to eat this whole thing as a family of 4, but I also want to show you a pretty dish. So I've got some, trying to decide. Let's go ahead, because this is real life, guys. This is real life, and this is my, my family dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and plate up one, and then I'm going to top this. That way I can save the rest. And when I reheat it, the lettuce and, those toppings that you don't want to reheat won't, get soggy and gross. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this open and hope that it comes out pretty. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't give it a very long time. Whenever you bring out a dish like this that is very hot, if you give it time to cool down, the ingredients will have a time to set up and they will usually plate better. But it's already past dinner time. Okay, we're gonna go for the bowl method. Like I said, if I was to let this set for like 15 minutes and then call my family down for dinner, it would come out in a pretty pie piece. But right now it's just too hot. So it's gonna come out not as a pretty pie piece. But that is okay because it's gonna taste good. And then we'll just cover it with all of our toppings and it's gonna be all good. So I'm gonna put some lettuce, green onion, olives, some more of this salsa on top, and a dollop of sour cream, and then we'll give it a taste. Yes, I double dipped. Shocker. Now here's the fun part, right? It's so good. The cheese sauce and doing the pie crust. I know, Watson. Y'all, if y'all haven't met my dog, Watson, if you're new to my channel, let me show you. This is my pug, Watson. He's my kitchen helper. He likes to make sure he's on cleanup duty anytime anything falls. And towards the end of the meal, when he knows it's almost dinner time, he starts whining because he's like, okay, I'm ready for my dinner. Now, I wish I could adequately describe how delicious this is. The meat sauce, the crust is crispy. The bean dip I keep calling it bean dip, but it's just refried beans. The refried beans at the bottom, so much good flavor in here. I'm sorry it didn't set up and look beautiful, but again, real, not perfect here on Dit Dot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out some of my other content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm really excited to get there. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys. Hey guys, I'm popping on again really quick because it's after dinner and I was cleaning up and I was shocked at actually how much my family ate. So there's like one serving left. My daughter Maddie doesn't really like crust of any kind, so she kind of just scooped out the insides, but there's like one like kind of small piece left. This was a big hit with the family. Like their plates are completely empty. They ate it all. Win-win.